What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean Peter Blunt guy. Hey, and we're back with another One Piece chapter. Oh, it's gonna be a good one today. I read the title of this chapter. I'm like, bro, this is gonna be the best chapter, the best One Piece chapter ever, because we are reacting to One Piece chapter 1090. Admiral Kizaru, the goat, the goated admiral. I say that. I'm saying that. I'm saying that. Nah, let me stop. Garp is the goat though. Be serious, Garp is the goat, but Kizaru is definitely one of my favorite. Or he's Kizaru is my favorite admiral. He's my favorite Marine. Then Garp right behind him. But this probably be the second best chapter after we get like Mihawk and everything. That's gonna be the greatest chapter when we get Mihawk versus Zoro and Mihawk gets the flex. Just saying, just saying. But anyway, yeah. Today we are reacting to One Piece chapter 1090, Admiral Kizaru. I am psyched. So yeah, it's been a weird week for chapter drops, right? I'm gonna be using a different app for this, but yeah, let's get into the chapter. So we on this cover page, and we have One Piece chapter 1090, Admiral Kizaru. We got Captain Kuro, the dude from Syrup Village. He was the antagonist of the arc where we got introduced to Usopp in the Syrup Village, and he was the guy with them long sword claws that he had with the gloves. And we see him reading a book while he adjusts his glasses like he always do. With a cat to the right of him. It looked like the book he's reading says Heritage. I'm not too sure. I don't know what the book the cat is reading says. And then there's like another cat hanging off the little ledge. It says chapter cover request. Captain Kuro is reading a book peacefully with black cats from Pien Tamika. Alright, that's not why we're here. I guess it's nice to see a character like Captain Kuro that we haven't seen in like years and years, decades. You could say. When was the last time we seen Captain Kuro? I don't know. Alright, we're at Egghead Island. We getting right in the thick of things. Luffy is on the Dendemushi. He says, "Hello, I'm Monkey D. Luffy. I'm the man who will become the Pirate King." And they say, "What are you doing, Luffy?" And he says, "We are in an alliance with Dr. Vegapunk. If you care about York's safety, then withdraw your fleet from around the shore." And then we got York screaming, "Wah! Save me!" And Kizaru looks. Oh boy, Kizaru is about to flex on him. Kizaru is about to flex. My thing is, I just don't want his first time really flexing what he can do to be against Gear 5. Because I don't see him being able to. I don't see him beating Gear 5. I just don't. Unless he pulls out some ability that can, like, counter Gear 5 or something. You know, like let's say we find out that light has something to do with devil fruits, right? Part of the reason why Blackbeard's darkness devil fruit could nullify, or part of the reason why Blackbeard's Yami Yami no Mi ability could nullify devil fruit abilities because of the darkness, right? It let's say it could nullify the light in devil fruits. I had discussions with people talking about like devil fruits and its connection with light. So if devil fruits do have a connection with light, maybe Kizaru could manipulate that. But that's just all theory though. So I can't really go on that. It's all speculation. So Kizaru's just standing there looking. We see some Marines. They said, "Those bastards, how low can they sink? They really are as evil as the rumors say." Shoot, we even got Big News Morgans, is he listening in on? Is he listening in on this? Like how is he able to listen in on this? I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious how he's able to listen because it looked like he's listening. He says, "What's this I'm hearing? What's happening over there?" We see Wapple and Vivi next to him, and Vivi says, "What? Luffy sign?" And then that was the World Economic Journal headquarters. So we see the Gorosei in their little war room or whatever you want to call that at Mary Joa, and they says, "Your Straw Hat Luffy, correct? Who is alive with you in the labo phase right now?" And Luffy says, if you count the injured ones, then our numbers is," and they say, "Don't say anything, Luffy." Ka-chop. So they hang up. And it says beep, beep. And we see the Gorosei member. I think he's like the youngest one. Or he's at least the youngest looking one. He's the only one with blonde hair. I remember people used to speculate that was Sanji's. Like he might have been Sanji's dad or something. Because the fact he got blonde hair and like Sanji. And we didn't know Sanji's. This was before we learned about the Vin Smokes. You know. But he says, "A woman's voice. Is that Nicole Robin?" It might have been Nami. It says, "Beep." Robin says, "Talking with them will only give them information and they must not easily learn about us." So that might have been Robin. Nami shaking her head. And Luffy says, "My bad, you're right. But will that make them withdraw their fleet?" And Usopp says, "Like hell that will happen. Don't underestimate the Marines." Then we see Saturn as he was listening. "Beep, beep. We have to protect 3 things," says Saturn. "First, the physical safety of York. Secondly, the punk records, which constitute Vegapunk's brain. And finally, the power plant needed to produce the Mother Flame." Are we going to get some more information on this Mother Flame? He says, "Everything else can be lost except for those." Bruh. I wonder if they're going to use that light technology in order to counter Kizaru. You know, like let's say by the end of the series, when we get like a big war with the Marines, and let's say Sanji or Zoro has to fight Kizaru, maybe they could use that light technology. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could use that light technology to battle Kizaru. One of the Marines come up to Saturn and say, "But sir, Rob Lucci and the squad are still there, alongside with the Cypher Pole agents." And Saturn says, "I'm just considering the worst possible scenario. It's important that we prioritize the most important factors to us." And then the Vice Admiral says, "Understood, sir." And Saturn says, "Humans are no different from insects. Even if their numbers reduce, they will just multiply again." And the Vice Admiral says, "Yes, sir," in shock. I guess he's shocked to hear what he has to say. Bro, I mean, that's how the Gorosei, they look at themselves as gods. You know, kind of like the Terabito, right? The celestial dragons. They all see themselves as gods. So it makes sense for Saturn to actually look down on normal humans, even though, you know, he's just like anybody else. Technically, he just has a title, you know, and probably like a strong ass devil fruit, and he's probably strong as hell as well. But other than that, he's still, I would think that he's still human, you know. Could be wrong. York's crying and says, "You heard all of that. I made a deal with the 5 Elder Stars. If you hurt me in any way, they will eradicate this island from existence. just like what they did to O'Hara. She's just bawling her eyes out. Nami clocks her in the head and says, she says, wow, that hurts. You'll pay for that. The 5 Elder Stars will hear about that. It looked like Zoro trying to calm Nami down. And Nami says, go ahead and complain more. We don't care. And Zoro says, hey, calm down, Nami. She's Lunar Med. Is that what I say? Lunar Med? Under Med? I don't know what that says. The wording is like all scrunched together. And we see Robin look, and then Chopper says, are your wounds feeling better now, Robin? The text on this is like it's like small, and some of it is cramped together. Whatever. All right. It's a lot going on. We got a panel with a lot of stuff. We see all the Straw Hats, Rob Lucci in the back. Why is Rob Lucci just chilling, bro? Rob Lucci just chilling. Rob Lucci is just chilling like he ain't an enemy out here. He's like, bro, I'm the newest Straw Hat. Rob Lucci, yo, we got an off panel invitation for Rob Lucci to join the Straw Hats, and he accepted. It was just all off panel. We got York screaming, ah! And Robin says, yes, thank you. She's talking to Chopper. And then I think this Chopper, he says, he, don't think that will make me happy, you bastard. Y'all know how when Chopper get flattered, he start, get all flustered and everything. And we see Rob Lucci, is that Kaku next to him? Kaku laying down. And Kaku says, even though I was facing 2 of the Seraphim, I'm still ashamed of myself. Rob Lucci says, I know how you feel about it, and it gets... I know how you feel about it, and get some rest. Right, this lettering. And is that Lilith crying? Yeah, Lilith crying says, wow, Shaka, Pythagoras, Edison. And someone says, Edison is still alive, Lilith. And Usopp says, stop bawling, Lilith. I'm trying to connect comms down below. So this is a lot. Luffy and Jory Bonnie eating. And Sanji just chilling behind the table. Lilith is holding on to Edison and said, for the state of Vegapunk's satellites, 4 are heavily injured and 2 are dead. As for the Straw Hat crew, what are you whispering over there, Lucci? Was that Rob Lucci and Kaku whispering? I can't tell who was saying that, but Rob Lucci says nothing. Talking to myself. So I think that was Rob Lucci and Kaku whispering, talking about like the state of the Straw Hats and everything, and the Vegapunks as well. So Shaka is dead. I forgot he died. Honestly, it was so long ago when York shot Shaka. So Shaka is seemingly dead. Pythagoras. What happened with Pythagoras? Was he turned to stone, or I think he might have been turned to stone and maybe destroyed. But if he was turned to stone, he should be able to be undone, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't remember what happened with Pythagoras. Y'all let me know. Usopp's on Den Den. He says, "Hey, To everyone down below, is everything all right over there? And we cut to laboratory underground basement, and we see all the CP agents, and they scream, "Straw Hat Crew, thank you for the food. We owe you we owe our lives to you. Don't call them out. They're still our enemies. We're saved. We're now saved thanks to you. Get us out of here." And then Usopp says, "No, we can't do that." And he says, "Then at least move us somewhere else, because having these creatures close to us is giving us the creeps." And they say, what creatures they talking about?" Oh, okay, so he is a seraphim. They in these little bubbles. So they managed to apprehend the seraphim. Maybe because the seraphim were still working off of York's orders, and the fact that they're working off York's orders, the other Vegapunks can't like reverse those orders. Only York can reverse those orders, or the Saturn as well. And I don't see why Saturn would reverse them. And I think this is Usopp still talking over to Din. He says, "Aren't the Seraphim your allies?" And they says, "Well, yes, but what if they got out of control again?" He says, "Can you assure their safety, Vegapunk?" And Vegapunk says, "Of course, because those bubbles are made from the same bubble shields used by the Pacifista Mark IIIs." Okay, so them bubbles must be super sturdy. If they can contain Seraphim, and the Seraphim can't escape, knowing how powerful Seraphim are, that bubble technology is something to be amazed about, man. That bubble technology is a big deal. Dr. Vegapunk continues, "Those bubbles are even bomb blast resistance. It's made with the same properties of sea prism stone." I forgot about that. So, and as we know, the Seraphim they have devil fruit abilities, so they probably have the same weaknesses of devil fruit users. And he says, which makes them effective weapons against devil fruit users. We see the Seraphim, Jinbei Seraphim is just looking. The Mihawk Seraphim says, "How dare they lock us in here?" Boa says, so that's wild. Like the Mihawk Seraphim saying that as if he kind of has like a level of self-awareness. He's like, "How dare they lock us in here?" And I'm assuming this is the CP0 agents talking. He said, "That's amazing. We thought those were just regular soap bubbles." And then Boa Seraphim says, you don't have to worry about us since we didn't receive any orders to eliminate you. You're of no concern to us." We starting to see these Seraphim got a little personality. Like they got, well, we seen they had a personality when when Jinbei said something to S Snake, and matter of fact, if I remember correctly, she did respond. So they are capable of communication and everything, and speaking, right? I forgot about that. But the fact that the Mihawk Seraphim was like upset about being in those bubbles, like it shows that he feels some type of way about them getting locked up. Like he doesn't like it. So we're seeing that they have a little bit more expression, like they can actually express themselves, and they actually have like a bit of self-awareness to be able to express themselves. That's dope. I like that. The CP0 agents, or the CP agents, not CP0 agents, but the CP agents said, "Oh, okay then. That's a relief." And Frankie over the intercom, he says, "Even so, even so, we're still grateful to you, S Snake. What did she do? Uh, and then she just looks, and Frankie continues. Thank you for undoing the petrification on us. That's strange. I don't remember programming her to act like that. Okay, so she undid the petrification. Cause I remember now Frankie was petrified. It was Frankie. Was it Usopp? Did Usopp get petrified too? I know it was like two or three people got petrified. It was Frankie, Pythagoras, and I feel like somebody else got petrified. I don't remember. I think it might have been Usopp, but I'm not sure. But Vegapunk says that's strange. I don't remember programming her to act like that. To act like what? What did she do? What did she do? Oh, okay. So we about to get a flashback, and Luffy screaming at S Snake and says, "Hancock, these are my comrades. You have to undo your powers on them. Please, you're the only one that can save them. Okay, I'll undo it. So please stop staring at my eyes directly." Yo, what does this mean though? So she was acting. Was she acting against orders? Like, did she, despite being ordered to, petrify, like to do what she did, right? She was acting under orders, right? So, but she did that because Luffy. Okay. Hold on. She is a clone of Boa Hancock. She is a clone of Boa Hancock. Like, she was made with Boa's uh, DNA. Now we don't know exactly when they took the DNA from Boa, right? But seeing how they have a crocodile, seeing how they have a crocodile seraphim, it must have been during like the first generation of the warlords. So this was way before Boa and Luffy met, I would think, right? When they might have extracted all the DNA from each of the seraphim, since they have crocodile. I'm assuming because crocodile was last part of the Shichibukai before like the whole Alabasta incident. So I would think that they might have gotten DNA from the Shichibukai around that time, right? Because I was going along the line of maybe because Boa had a thing for Luffy, right? Maybe a snake kind of carries that, right? But again, if they took Boa's DNA around the time of Alabasta, Boa didn't know anything about Luffy. So maybe it's more of an innate thing that Boa is just innately attracted to Luffy, which would make S Snake innately attracted to Luffy as well, possibly, which would be why she would listen to Luffy, uh, like Luffy doing that. Because when you look at that panel, it looked like she was like, "Okay, I will undo it. So please stop staring at my eyes." Like, why is she listening to Luffy? Like the only reason why, the only thing that could make me understand why she would listen to Luffy of all people is because she's like Boa. You know what I mean? Like, she's like Boa. So we know how Boa is madly in love with Luffy. So maybe this Seraphim has the capacity to fall in love with Luffy as well. You know what I mean? I'm just spitballing though. I'm just spitballing. And this also leads to another discussion to have. She's acting in a way that's unfamiliar with Vegapunk. Like, Vegapunk says, I never programmed her to act like this. So these Seraphim have the capacity to evolve away from their programming. Like they have the capacity to evolve away from how they're programmed. And if that's the case, later down the line, they may not necessarily be loyal. They might actually gain a level of sentience to where they don't follow orders, to where they just want to do their own thing. You know what I mean? Because again, she's acting against the order, her previous order. So, ah, I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting situation right here. It's an interesting situation. Jinbei screams, "Wow!" She's the perfect copy of Hancock. She looks down on everybody else except Luffy. Even Jinbei pointed that out. Even Jinbei pointed that out. And then he continues, "It's funny to know that the Seraphim based on her was the same or has the same emotions towards Luffy." And then Vegapunk says, "Very interesting. So these emotions are considered to be one of the pieces of information transferred through the lineage factor during the cloning process. But when did they get the DNA? That's what I need to know. You know, because the fact that they have a crocodile seraphim makes me think they would have gotten this maybe like the last time that the Shichibukai got together, and you know they had that little sit down around that table. Maybe around that time, I'm thinking. But even Jinbei pointed that out about the boa seraphim. What about Mihawk though? Like we know Mihawk kind of has like a connection with Zoro. Would S Hawk also carry on that connection as well? I always talk about Mihawk possibly dying, right? Like possibly dying. If Mihawk possibly dies, S Hawk could actually be the one to take his place, and he would even probably be a bigger challenge the fact that he's a seraphim. You know what I mean? It's like Mihawk Seraphim. It's like if you was to fuse Mihawk with a Lunarian, Mihawk could be way more dangerous. You know, and we gotta look at these Seraphim as potentially dangerous, more dangerous than their original counterparts. You know, we got Luffy looking at the monitor. He says, "Thank you again, Hancock," and she's like, "Kaya, did you just say that you love me?" Bro, I'm with it. I am with it. I am with it. I am with it because just imagine if S Snake just can't act against Luffy. Like she just can't act against Luffy. Like it doesn't matter who give her an order. It could be Eam himself giving her an order or the Gorosei, and she will not act against Luffy. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Uh what was the big Vegapunk name? I forgot her name. She was the one who Atlas. Atlas, that's her name. So Atlas says, "Stella, although the comm system is working again, I still can't open the Frontier Dome. We can't escape here if we can't disable the barrier." And York says, "It's useless. I locked everything with a password. And here's another bad news for you. I didn't share that info with your brains, and I don't plan on telling it either." And Lilith jumps at York and says, "You're starting to get on my nerves. Haha, that password and the world government are the two armors that protect me." And he said, "I'm starting to get hungry." Girl, why you? So, my question though, could they force her to sync to the brain to Punk Records? Like, just force her to sync. Y'all got a prisoner. Just attach her to the device and just. I would think you could do that. Like, just attach somebody to it, and then just press whatever you need to press, do it. You know what I'm saying? Stussy says, "We're surrounded from every side, Stella. The fleet the fleet compromises or comprises the fleet comprises of 100 ships and nearly 30,000 Marines on board." And Stella says, "Yes, we have a dire situation on our hands." Sanji says, "Here you go, Stussy. Do you want a cup of coffee?" Just heart's going crazy. And then Stella continues, "You said your name was Nami. You're the navigator of the crew, correct?" And Nami says, "Yes. The log post is not pointing to a new destination yet, but I think we can still follow the other directions it recorded in Wano." And she continues, "One of them is pointing northeast from here." And Stella says, "Ah, yes, that's where Elbaf is." Luffy and Usopp both scream, "Elbaf? We're finally going there? We've been dreaming of going there ever since the Island of the Giants." So it looked like it's confirmed. Elbaf next, baby. We kind of knew that already, but it's like that confirmation. Like when we was in Elbaf with Shanks and Kid, bro, I wonder what happened with Kid. I wonder what's going on with Kid, man. Yeah, I wonder what's going on with Kid and Law as well. Law might be prison, maybe not, because they escaped. I forgot that they escaped. Luffy and Usopp dancing. Elbaf, Bath, Elbaf, Bath. It's surely to be big and the people there too. Stussy says to Rob Lucci, "Would you quit staring at me?" Rob Lucci stared at him. Bro, Rob Lucci like, "Goddamn traitor. You got a traitor." And Stella says, "Lucky for us, your ship is already on the Labo phase stratum. But since the island is surrounded completely by a marine blockade, it's impossible for us to escape from the coast." And we get a map of the island northeast where they're pointing. It's an arrow pointing northeast. And Vegapunk continues, "We have to go northeast to the other side of the island. Fortunately, the Vega Force 01 is already stationed next to your ship." Stella continues, "I hope it will carry us all through the marine blockade, but it can only fly within the airfield of Egghead. It will fall down as soon as it leaves the airfield range of the island." And then Frankie says, "No problem at all. The Sunny can take over just before it completely leaves the airfield range. No one would be able to chase us after we fly 1 kilometer away." And Stella says, "My word, that ship can fly a straight full kilometer? Very well. Let's go with the plan." And Frankie says, "It's powered by cola." And Stella continues, "Cola?" Atlas says, "That's a very well thought out plan, but we need to disable the Frontier Dome first, before we can escape." And York says, "You'll never get the password from me." And all three of the Vegapunk, we got Atlas, Edison, and Stella all says, "In that case, we would just have to hack it. Do not underestimate the great Vegapunk." If anybody could do that, like how you underestimating yourself though? You know, like how you're going to underestimate herself? Like the smarter of the Vegapunks. How you going to underestimate them, bruh? Come on now. All right, so we get kind of a flashback from like maybe a couple minutes ago, and Lilith, not Lilith, not Edith. Stella. Stella says, Lilith, I leave the command of the Vega Force 01 to you. And we see Stella, Frankie, or we see Lilith, Frankie. I'm not sure who the other two people are. It might be like Usopp and Stussy, maybe, or Sanji. I'm not too. Oh, it's okay. So it's Lilith, Luffy, and Jory Bonnie. I was way off. They're running with Lilith, and Lilith said, "Let's move the ship to the other side of the Labo phase. We need to hurry. The barrier might open any time now." And he says, "You're right. Though disabling it will allow us to escape, but that would mean we will be vulnerable to enemy fire." They say, "Exactly." Lilith continues, "You know, to tell you the truth, I have never left this island before." Frankie says, "Hey, we're not going for a picnic, you know." Luffy says, "I'll definitely miss the food here." Bonnie says, "Same here. We won't get to eat any more of it tomorrow, so let's bring some more pizzas." And Luffy says, "We have cheese on the ship, so don't worry, Sanji can make some for us." And Bonnie says, "I see what a great man, skilled at cooking and at the same time strong in battle." And Luffy says, "Hey, why did you get in a good mood all of a sudden? So weird." Probably the food. Probably the food. I want to see more of this combination with Luffy and Jory Bonnie, because they're so similar when it comes to their love for food. So it's just a nice change to see one of the only other supernova that loves food probably just as much or even more than Luffy. Them two together, you know. Anytime they're around food, see how crazy they go. Frankie says, "I'll admit I feel," or Bonnie says, "I'll admit I feel better now that I gave up on killing Vegapunk." And Luffy says, "Good. We won't be annoyed by your crying anymore like last night." And Bonnie says, "I wasn't crying." So we never really got like the full thing of Bonnie going into that bubble and learning more about the past of Kuma, you know, like Kuma's memories. Like we didn't get enough of that. Like I'm a little upset about that. Like she had to see something that made her change how she feel, you know, about Vegapunk. Someone says Rob Lucci has made contact. And he says, we now know what's happening inside. Relay this info to everyone at once. Oh, so Rob Lucci's sitting here being a rat. Like, they sitting here letting this man live, and he being a rat. I guess they had to make a truce. It wasn't like a full-on alliance. It was more just a truce. But he over here being a rat, and it is what it is. You know, they weren't friends or teammates. So it is what it is. Saturn says, "You heard that, Barcelino." And Kizaru says, "Straw Hat was talking arrogantly to deceive us, and believing that he has control over the whole situation. But it doesn't change the fact that they're still cornered like rats." Saturn says, "The Frontier Dome is a defense system that utilizes lasers, am I right?" He says, "Can't you go through it since you're a light human?" And Kizaru says, this is the same thing I said. It's the same thing I said, bro. Couldn't Kizaru just go through it? Like, being light, like, I would think, you know. Kizaru says, "That might be possible, but the one Vegapunk stationed to guard the dome is a friend of mine." I think he's talking about Sitamaru. But the thing about Kizaru, bro, is if he's ordered, he's probably going to have to kill Sitamaru. It's just how things is, you know. Just how Kizaru is. But the fact that Kizaru is saying, the guy who's protecting this whole thing is a friend of mine. I would never expect Kizaru to say nothing like that. To be so sentimental. Even though it's just like slight sentiment. I don't think he's that sentimental. I think he would kill Sentomaru if ordered to do so. But maybe we find out. So let's find out. Next page. Saturn says, well, you'll just need to ignore him. And Kizaru says, I can't ignore a man who's determined to fight for his duty. Doing that will go against my ideals. Furthermore, if we start our assault now, Sentomaru will surely order the Mecha Sea Beast weapons and the 50 pacifistas under his command to sink our fleet. The casualties would be enormous. Okay, man, we getting Kizaru sitting here talking and stuff. Other than just trolling somebody, I like it. I like it. I like it. And then Saturn says, the situation getting more and more complicated. What about the power plant? Do we know its location? Kizaru says, Rob Lucci is quite the shrewd and cunning fellow. He already sent all the info we need. Bruh, like, I feel like we haven't, for this chapter to be named, for it to be titled Admiral Kizaru, we're not getting enough Kizaru in my opinion. I'm sorry. Like, I feel we're like halfway through the chapter. Like a little over halfway through the chapter, and we're just now getting Kizaru. Bro, Kizaru gotta do something amazing. If we're not getting a lot of Kizaru, we gotta see something amazing, bro. We just got to. I'm sorry, because they're not giving enough of him. I do like some of the character development we're getting from him talking, other than it just being, oh, do you want me to go fight them? Oh, scary. Just instead of getting the trolling or the taking orders, him actually like showing that he's intelligent, could think things through, and that he's a man with a plan. I like it. I like it. The Marines say battle stations, battle stations, battle stations, battle stations. So we see like a bunch of Marine ships lined up and they're preparing to act. We see a big vice admiral. He said, tell the Rokushiki users to be on standby. Our assault will begin soon. Yes, sir. We get this old lady, this short old lady, kind of like, she kind of look like Stussy, like old Stussy. She says, free all CP0 agents from those pirates. And they say, yes, ma'am. Tunal. What? This guy with his big neck says Tunal bombardment units. Tonal bombardment units. Remember that bomb blast attacks don't work on the pacifistas. Aim for the Mecha Sea Beast weapons. And they say, yes, sir. We got the Straw Hats all running to the ship, or the little group that we seen running to the ship. Made it to the ship. Luffy's like bouncing around or whatever. He said, I love these Sky Island grounds. Frankie said, I get what you mean, but don't forget our goal here. And it looked like Bonnie says, we've arrived at the Sunny. And we got Lilith running to the Vega Force 1. Oh, Kizaru's acting. He's finally on the move. Kizaru is finally on the move with a Yada no Kagami. And it said pew, so we get a laser and it's shooting. It's like it shot right past one of the sea beasts. It's bouncing off walls. in buildings. And they say, let's go at it then. Someone says that. Ojiki. Ojiki. Also, translator note says Ojiki literally means uncle, but it's a Japanese word that mostly used to refer a Yakuza family's father boss. And then we get these pacifista. Like a dude is like, I don't know, I guess he's getting like some incoming signal of order. It said all pacifista units, beep, obliterate all enemies. Kizaru about to run through. He about to have to run through Sentomaru. He about to have to run through Sentomaru. Let's go. Kizaru says, prepare yourself, Sentomaru. And Sentomaru said, my defense. And we see Kizaru like flying to Sentomaru. And Sentomaru continues, is the toughest in the world. I wonder how true that is. Sentomaru's defense being the toughest in the world. Kizaru about to put that to the test. It's like he's about to catch. I don't know if that's. It looked like a kick. It looked like a light speed kick that Sentomaru is about to take. With that thing about to. He about to get wiped out. I'm sorry, bruh. And they say, what's that? There's light coming from below. Hey, someone very strong is coming, says Luffy. And you see Luffy with like a shocked face and this light shining in his face. One Piece. And, bruh, that was a heck of a chapter. Kizaru's finally on the move. My complaint, though, because I'm a little upset, though. I am a little upset. Why am I upset, right? Why am I upset? We got a chapter named Admiral Kizaru, and Kizaru hardly did anything. Hardly did anything. Why? Like, I get it's a setup, right? It's a setup. I get it setting up for the next chapter for us to actually see what Kizaru actually does. But you could have named that chapter Admiral Kizaru. Why would you name the chapter Admiral Kizaru and we hardly got anything? We didn't get no flashbacks of Kizaru. We got like maybe 4 panels in total of Kizaru. Like maybe like 4 pages in general. Like one full page spread of Kizaru talking with, like one full page of Kizaru talking with Saturn. 1.5 page of Kizaru talking with Saturn, and then we get 1 page with him actually acting and him fighting, like going face to face. So about 4 pages of Kizaru, and not like 4 full pages, but like partial pages. So I'm a little upset that you gonna name this chapter Admiral Kizaru, and we hardly actually got anything from Admiral Kizaru. I'm a little upset. I wanted more. I wanted more, especially since Kizaru was like one of my guys. So I was like, man, I gotta see Kizaru flex. And I mean, he started to flex, but we didn't see the full on flex. Kind of got a problem with that. We also know that the Straw Hats are about to escape the island, head to Elbaf. They're going to use the Vega Force 1 to carry the ship over, the Marine ships, as far as possible. But once they get over a certain limit from Punk Hazard, the Vega Force 1 is going to depower itself because it can only work within the confines of Egghead Island, and that's when Straw Hats used Coupe de Burst to fly like another extra kilometer and escape, right? But the thing about this whole plan that the Straw Hats made is Lucci had been feeding the Marines information about what's going on. Like, hey, here's what they plan on doing. So y'all gotta prepare yourselves. That's when Saturn was talking to Kizaru like, hey, you made it. You're light, man. Can't you somehow get through Vegapunk's defenses since it's like lasers and stuff, right? And Kizaru's like, maybe I probably can, But the thing is, I'm more worried about like having to clash with Sentomaru, right? So that's the only thing Kizaru was kind of worried about, having to fight Sentomaru. But Kizaru is a man of duty, so he's going head to head with Sentomaru as we know it. And Sentomaru says he has the best defense in the world. I don't think so, but he probably has an elite level defense. But Kizaru's going to put that to a test, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Also, we got the Vegapunks. They're trying to hack because York locked the other Vegapunks out of system. She has a password. She's not sharing it. So they're pretty much going to try to undo the shield so they can escape. But once they escape, it leaves them vulnerable. So there's that as well. Another interesting moment from this chapter was the whole S-Snake interaction with Luffy. How it's almost like Boa Hancock's emotions have been passed down to S-Snake. So she kind of has that crush on Luffy, similar to Boa Hancock. My only question is, we know that Boa's crush on Luffy developed when she met Luffy during the time skip, right? During the time skip part. But the thing is, when did the world government, when did Vegapunk get the DNA to the Seraphim, right? When did Vegapunk get the DNA to the Seraphim? And why is that important? Why do I think that's important? Because we seen Crocodile. We seen S Crocodile, I guess. I think that's the name. S Crocodile. There is a Crocodile Seraphim. So the fact that there's a Crocodile Seraphim, and we know that Crocodile was pretty much removed from the Shichibukai back after Alabasta, right? After Alabasta, he was removed from the Shichibukai. It makes me think that the world government, and specifically Vegapunk, collected the Shichibukai DNA before Crocodile was removed, right? If that is the case, which it seems to be the case, since they have a Crocodile Seraphim, they don't have a Law Seraphim. We didn't see a Law Seraphim. We didn't see a Buggy Seraphim. We didn't see any of that. We only seen like the original Shichibukai Seraphim. If that's the case, then Boa, when they collected the DNA from Boa, she wouldn't have been in love with Luffy at that time. You know what I mean? So how can S-Snake develop feelings for Luffy if Boa didn't have feelings for Luffy around the time they collected her DNA that end up making the Seraphim, right? Like, how can S-Snake have those feelings develop? Now, I don't think that's impossible. I think there could be an explanation for that. Definitely if that's the case, it could be more of an innate, like maybe Luffy has, there's just something about Luffy's personality that would have warranted Boa Hancock falling in love with him, right? Just something about his personality that regardless, whenever they met, Luffy or Boa would have still fell in love with Luffy. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it could be a situation like that. So S-Snake despite possibly being made from DNA that was collected before Boa met Luffy, S Snake just had a innate capacity to fall in love with Luffy. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't really know how to explain that. You know what I mean? Like the Seraphim have like if you leave the Seraphim to their own devices, they might end up just like the people they were originally from, right? Like if you just let AS Hawk out in the world, he will eventually live the same life that Mihawk lives. You know what I mean? Same with Crocodile, or Doflamingo. They would have eventually grew up to be similar to their original counterparts, like Crocodile, for example, or Doflamingo. He might not have uh, taken over. What's that island that Crocodile or Doflamingo took over? I forgot the island that he was ruling over. Dressrosa, right? S Flamingo might not take over Dressrosa, but he might go take over another island, right? Thinking because he has celestial dragon blood, that is just his right, right? Like the point I'm trying to get at is the Seraphim left to their own devices will end up just like the Shichibukai that they came from. You know what I mean? And Boa, though she's just a clone, she still end up falling in love with Luffy because she met Luffy. Now if she never met Luffy, maybe she would never fall in love with Luffy. But the fact that she met him and Luffy, there's just something about Luffy that attracts Boa. That's the same with S Snake as well. You know what I mean? So, not saying they will live mirrored lives to their counterparts, but in personality and character, they become similar to them. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I think is the potential for each of the Seraphim. Like maybe S Hawk, maybe he wants to become the next world's greatest swordsman. You know what I mean? Like there's just something in him that draws him to being like that. You know what I mean? So I think that's could be a situation. But yeah, that is pretty much the chapter. Good chapter, good chapter. I'm a little upset because we didn't get enough of Kizaru, in my opinion, especially for this chapter to be named after him. I wanted more, but just like the Aokiji chapter, I think we got more of Aokiji. We got some great moments of Aokiji. Not with Kizaru though. I'm a little upset with that. But yeah, y'all. Make sure you guys follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you like, comment down below. Also, follow me on Twitch so you can catch me live. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And join my Discord. That is all I got for the chapter. It's your boy Sean P, the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Peace.